think that ties into when you're talking about, say, the your your book, The Beautiful Risk of Education, and when a lot of your writing, you stress how it's important to resist education's tendency towards prescriptive techniques and instrumentalization. So what you have called the formalization of the school curriculum. In contrast, you've written that there is that inherent risk to education, and that actually it's, instead of, rather than being averse to it, we should see it as an affirmative process, and productive. And so with risk being central to the creativity that is education. And we would love if you could maybe speak more to that, because, how is risk positive and affirmative rather than something to be, averse to?
Yeah. So yeah, again, I need to think where to start. Of course, it depends on what you think that education is or that education is for. So if you conceive of education as a process that should produce something that you already know, then you want to make sure that you get that end result. And all the risk and openness and unpredictability are all then seen as hindrances to getting where you want to get. And that's, of course, what I play with saying, well, wait a minute, risk is not just a problem. You can say it's only a problem if you think that the process should be a predictable process. And then I begin to ask, well, is that a valid way to think about education? And in a sense, I'm quite liberal, so I can see reason in a lot of different positions. So I also know, it's important that students get it right and that they get the right understanding and the right skills. So there is a place for that, but there is also a limit there. And in rather crude and quick terms, you can say that the limit is when students can only appear as objects that need to be managed by teachers or by education systems. And there I come out of at least a continental tradition, but there are many more traditions that say at the end of the day, the point of education is that students can lead their own life. And that is what we constantly should be anticipating in all kind of really interesting ways. And that is risky because you give everything ultimately you put everything in the hand of the student and you say, look, it's your freedom. And I'm not the person who is going to tell you what you should do with your freedom. And then you can say, well, without risk, without the risk that it is an open process where you do not know what's coming out of it, but also the risk of saying to students, look, it's your life, it's up to you. There are all kind of risks there, but they are the point of that way of looking at education. And then risk becomes positive. And you can say necessary and essential for education.